Hey Cinemark fans, Dave Rispoli here with the cast of Horizon, an American Saga, which is the first chapter in this epic story. Luke, we're very familiar with Kevin Costner, the actor. I'm curious, what's he like as a director?
For me, it was just unbelievably fun to get to be directed by someone who I'd grown up being a fan of and had continued to be a fan of as I got into the business myself. But I just felt that, he was a very trustworthy guy and a very honest guy about, what he needed and what he was looking for in a scene. And he would make things simple. And I think that like a great coach or teacher, he would adjust how he'd speak to you, then how he'd speak to me or to these actors. So yeah, just very interesting.
I was a bit intimidated when you first meet him, but as a director, he understands what's going on as an actor. So he gives you time, gives you space, and he's very cognizant to what you need as an actor to help tell his story.
Like you say, Kevin is in a position in this film of being both an actor and a director, and so it's a very, very interesting dynamic that happens within that, particularly during a rehearsal, because you're figuring each other out, you're building that trust, but then also he's looking at you like a director as well. So when you're doing something good that he likes, he's doing what you're doing. He's nodding, and he's like, oh, this is great, but then all of a sudden he'll fall back in again. So that's really exciting. It's really interesting. On a sort of like personal, selfish level, to be stood opposite a legend, a movie star like Kevin Costner is just a total blessing. I love going heads up with actors. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's where we really get to figure each other out, and the grit kind of is there. So yeah, it was a total blessing. What a joy.
I will tell you this. In these territories, men will come try you. They will take from you until you are wiped clean from this land. I'm just saying that's something you might want to keep in mind.
You think?
You talked before about how a lot of Westerns may not have gotten right the approach to the hero character. The character Hayes has a lot of inner turmoil. And I'm wondering if that's something you're drawn to. I've seen in previous characters of yours.
Well, he's illiterate. He can't read or write. But he's a traditional cowboy, which means everything he owns is on his back or on his horse. So it's a way of life when you meet him. It's a kind of, to live that life, we almost can't imagine it, but that was a way of life, Your horse, your saddle, they became really important to you. I'm drawn to that, but all the things that really go with that, behavior is still behavior, and in any century, any decade, and you can see modernisms in the way, we have peeping Toms, right? They're gonna watch a woman if they can. We have people that are unpredictable. We go, wow, we see sociopath, we see psychopath, we see bullies, murderers, and we see acts of heroism, and we see a level of nobility and decency in people. Love. Westerns can tolerate those, and what more, they should have them.
In working on something this epic, of this time period with the sets and costuming and props, is there anything in particular that really locks you into your character? Be it a prop, a piece of costume?
We're in the middle of the desert. The weather is a whole other character, dust storms and storms rolling in and fighting with the elements. Like everywhere you look, there were people in period costume and beautiful props and a crop field that we'd grown, but there was nothing fake. And that really helps get you into the mindset and the world.
How about for you, Sam? Any little prop or anything that really locked you in?
The horse.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, I think once you get on horses, everything kind of changes, and and Kevin's a gun horseman, so he expects everyone to be at his level. But when you've got 20, 30 guys riding in, that it really feels like A, you're doing a Western, and B, you kind of just zero in, you kind of have to focus, yeah.
It really felt like Kevin was excited for us to play in the world and get our hands into it and grab things, pick things up, play within it, and that really you really feel transplanted, which I think the movie shows you when you watch it. You feel like you're in this world with us.
What might you take away as an experience that you'll take on into your life on working on such an epic film like this?
There's definitely things that you learn as an actor in every job that you do, and I think being pushed by Kevin interspaces. That's what all good directors do, is they make you discover new parts of yourself that you didn't know that were there before. And I certainly discovered certain little things within me that I'm like, oh, that's really cool, I'll take that. But I think it's a constant reminder for me, this film, of following your heart. You know, I think both watching Kevin and feeling myself the same way about that, yeah.
It has to be the horses for me. I mean, it was just such an amazing experience. I love animals, and I'd never ridden horses like that before, and I had such a beautiful teacher who was so patient with me and gave me so much space, and yet was so clear in her direction. And she really taught me, my favorite thing about what she taught me was how to communicate with a horse, and that they are so sensitive. They're very powerful, but they're so sensitive that they can sense your heart, your breathing, where your eyes go. So if you turn your head but your eyes don't follow, the horse will get confused about where to go. They are so sensitive. They can feel all the muscles in your legs down to your toes, you know. And so just to learn how to fully communicate with a horse, with your entire being, was like amazing. And I hope I get to do that again and again and again, and hopefully one day when I have the time and I can live with horses, you know?
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
Folks, experience this film the way it was intended, to see the full scope on the big screen, and make sure you do so by getting your tickets at Cinemark.com.
Men who hunt this land, they're not going to share it with you. What you build, they will burn down.
We just got to keep going.